thought I'd do a segment here on what it looks like for me, my layout, how I have this set up. I am solo, so this is going to be obviously sort of a bachelor layout, and there's obviously less stuff since it's just me. I'll cover both the interior and the exterior, so I'll start with the front here and walk up. As I'm walking up here, I'll just I haven't found a good place for recycling yet that has become the spot for recycling. I don't, I haven't really figured out the recycling and the trash situation here. The trash bin here is pretty small, doesn't really hold much, and but that's what I've been doing. Up front here, I have usually the things that I want to take with me if I'm headed out. So I've got my, just my keys and sunglasses and the hat, and I'll put my wallet in here just so it's not in plain view. And I've been putting my shoes here. There's really not a lot of room for that sort of thing, so I'll have, my sandals and my shoes are typically over here. Up front, storage-wise, here what I'll do is I keep all my travel items in that bin on the left. So I've got the GPS and the tire pressure monitoring system and whatnot. I've got a flashlight, first aid kit there. I do not use these overhead bins, which are deceivingly, they look like they're larger. They're on the outside, they're not. I'm too short to make particularly good use of this, and I haven't found a need to. So those are both empty. Up here I'll put items that are maybe related to, so like the left bin are related to setting up and breaking down camp. So I get like my headlamp in there, two-way radios, a level. Down here I just got these actually. I haven't used them yet. Some gloves for when I'm filling up with diesel. I've been finding I'm getting way too dirty, especially if the truck stops with those. And I've got like all my batteries up there, just some miscellaneous stuff really. Again, nothing in those bins. I've got a large umbrella sitting here. I decided to keep it here in case I forget that I've left that out. I used to put it over here and realized that I might have an accident with respect to the slide. So as you can see, I have my Amazon Echo sitting there, and I keep my beach bag in that nook there. I'm no longer using this chair really. I'm leaving it in that position, maybe unless I'm having company over or something like that, but I've been leaving it in that position. Move over to above the dinette. We've got just a single container in here. I've got remotes in there and some various Nintendo Switch accessories, but you can see you can fit at least two bins of that size in there. I think I actually don't even remember. Oh, right. I'm now storing my paper plates and whatnot in here. The kitchen storage is pretty low, especially because there's a dishwasher taking up some space. I have been making some additions in here. I got the Switch in there. I have the Nintendo Switch, not to be confused with the HDMI Switch with the remote control. I have an Apple TV in there, and added a power strip that's got some USB ports on there just to keep the cabling a little bit more under control. Bought some very short HDMI cables also to help keep things under control. This isn't its final state, but works out pretty well. Thankfully, what they've done is added an IR repeater, so there's actually one attached to the DVD player, the Blu-ray player, and there was one hanging around here, so I just kind of keep this laying here. What that does is, even though the cabinet door is shut, the receiver for the repeater will allow me to activate the HDMI switch using its remote control, so that still works. I am actually working while I'm here, so this is my workspace by day and my eating area after I'm done. So what I'll do is I'll just hop that monitor on top of the table, move the keyboard over, and I sit here. This is my camera equipment out for the stuff I'm doing right now. That's not normally out. That's usually in the back in the bedroom. That table is actually a little too high for me to act as for proper height for my for the keyboard. So what I'll do is, this is completely terrible, but I have not bothered to try and fix this yet, is I'll take this tray table, I'll clear it off, and I'll just put it right underneath the table. I'll drop the table and let the table sit on top of the tray table, and that actually achieves a good height for me for typing. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I bought this little ottoman, and the booze stays in there, and that actually is a good arrangement for traveling as well. So I'll just put that, when I'm packing up, I'll just put that right in here and let the slide come in, and that keeps this thing in pretty good shape. I don't have a heck of a lot in these drawers. They're relatively small, but a couple of, it's space. Random cables go in here. What I've been doing is, so this is my Samsung J3. Gosh, it's been so long I don't even remember what it is anymore. I'm just using this on T-Mobile as a hotspot. That's all this is doing. I also have a Verizon MiFi or Jetpack for hotspot here. This one's provided by my office, but T-Mobile has actually generally been better here than Verizon has been. So I'm typically using this as my hotspot. What I'll do is I'll set up the wine guard to come off of this, or I'll swap the wine guard to the Jetpack, or I'll swap the wine guard to the campground Wi-Fi if it's good enough, and that way I don't have to reset all the configuration of all my devices and whatnot inside the coach. Still got a GoPro here. I'm gonna hopefully use that to record some of myself driving later. Got a little tabletop fan here that I'll use sometimes if I don't have the air conditioning on. And that fan will go in here while I'm traveling. I've got my motor carrier Atlas here. Another container. I have a space heater here. A couple of more bins full of zip ties and Velcro ties and things like that. Some more miscellaneous stuff, tape and pens and just kind of whatever in here. I've got the bedding for the sofa in here. Some typically computer cable type things in here, USB cables and things like that, and Swiffer items. So you can see there's a lot of space in here. I'm not, maximizing the space here because I don't really need to. And my Windows PC sitting here on the tray table when I'm doing that, and yes, there is a pillow and a blanket on the sofa. That's how I stay comfortable when I'm just kind of lounging. Get this out of the way. Take a look at this is the remote for the HDMI switch, the Apple TV remote. In here, so I'll keep my coffee mugs and my regular cups here. I've got some copper mugs here for when I make my Moscow mules. Straws, shaker, emergency sort of lighting. Look at my plastic cups, and I'm really not using the space above. One of the disadvantages of this cabinet in particular, using it like this, is if the slide is in and I'm doing like an overnight at a Flying J or Walmart or what have you, I cannot access this cabinet, which means I can't access my cups. That's the problem. So I've actually gotten to the point where I remember if I'm going to be in a situation like that, I'll take one or two cups out and put it elsewhere. But yeah, not great. Let's see. Down here, this is actually nice. I just bought this. This is a printer, inkjet printer, very small. I've got the top to my blender, which is also a food processor. So I've got the top to the food processor in there, and the blades. Back in there, believe it or not, those are that's a pile of DVDs. So this cabinet does go back for quite a bit further than the door. And when I guess I moved it when previously in that wide open spot there. I have my food saver, which now that I think about it, yeah, I removed it. I moved it to here, so my vacuum food sealing device is migrated there. I'll cover this door in a second so I don't forget. Trash, as I said, this is pretty small. At least there's a spot back there for the bags. I do want to figure this out. Let's see. That works. Down here, I have my Instant Pot, some miscellaneous Tupperware, Cascade, Clorox, Windex. The only thing that comes down here when I'm traveling really is that toaster. The Nespresso actually stays put while I'm driving, and I've had some pretty good stopping sort of situations, and it'll move a little bit, but it's been pretty stable there. Especially, I wasn't even using this before, but especially with this down, this isn't really going anywhere. I do need to trim that up to make it look better, but so then I've got the pods in there. Yeah, sugar, paper towel, water. I don't keep in the fridge. I don't need it to be cold. While I'm traveling, I'm always afraid of that thing tipping over and creating a complete disaster, so I'll actually empty that out and just store it somewhere. And apparently these bananas are ripe enough that I should be making banana bread instead of eating them. There's the blender base. I have 3 pots in here. I have a small, medium, and large in here, and I also have this sort of steamer with basket thing in here. This is actually relatively tall, right? So this is a really deep cabinet. Just means you're moving stuff around to access things. Behind the blender, so I'm definitely frequently moving this, and I would like to find a new home for it. I have a medium saucepan or a you know what I mean, a pan, and I've got another deeper one there. I have a couple of strainers in there, and that's about it. So there's still some space here, especially if I found a better home for this. This isn't terrible. And in here I've got my plates and bowls. A couple of this, I have like soup bowls behind here, so I'm kind of using this to keep the soup bowls in place while traveling. This stuff stays as is while traveling. A couple of baking dishes, my napkins. I've got some more Tupperware back here. And just some little trivets and things in there. And let's see, moving on. So silverware. I've got my salt, pepper shaker here, scissors, serving spoons, typical silverware, a couple of pens, screaming bachelor right now, toothpicks and peeler. Got this, so I have a small wine bottle opener plus can opener, kind of all in one, so this is nice. Shot glasses, although I tend to use these more really actually as espresso, not drinking. Especially this one's handy because it measures 1 or 2 ounces. But if I want to make espresso or something like that, I'll use those. This is just a smorgasbord of measuring cups. I've got measuring spoons in here. I have some of my nice knives from home, so I keep because I didn't bring a knife block. I haven't, nor have I mounted a magnetic strip. At some point I'll do that, but so I've got a couple of knives in here and those sorts of things. So you got a sense of just random junk in here. Down below is all my, Reynolds wrap and Saran wrap and bags and oven mitts, that sort of stuff. So, and these only came in a 4-pack. I have actually yet to use these, but yay, nice flame, whatever. This drawer. Am I catching on something? No. Okay. I've stopped using these for cutting boards because I was actually causing all sorts of scrapage, and these boards are just kind of big and awkward and to use in general. So I brought my own cutting boards. Underneath those are all my Nespresso pods. Let's see, spices and tea and my spaghetti, only because this just is too tall for the pantry layout, so that's sitting there. Otherwise it would have gone in there. And the dishwasher, which I think I have, gives you a little sense of the space. I've got my mug and a glass in there, so it's plenty deep, but it's also it's not 2 levels, so it does fill up quickly. I'll put my plates in here. I don't have a good spot for bowls. That's probably the only issue that I have, is once this is full of plates and cups, there's not a lot of room for bowls and things like that. But this otherwise works out well. I've used it probably, I would say 6 times or so at this point. And it does take a while, 2 hours. And let's see. I think I'll do the fridge first. Here's some Screaming Bachelor. I tend to put what I can in the doors so things aren't moving around while I'm rolling. There's plenty of room in here. Most of my beer is actually outside in the outdoor fridge. That wouldn't have optioned that personally, but it came with it, and I'm glad it did. It's a good spot to put stuff like that. I have way too much bread apparently. Right now I'm keeping eggs and whatnot in here, and all my deli, whatever, over here. This is just so the eggs don't have problems while I'm moving. In case you're wondering, that's for the Nespresso, for the steaming the milk. Freezer is actually good, so making plenty of ice here, various frozen stuff up top, and plenty of space down here. I've got more than enough space, even though there's tons of stuff in here, so this is good space. And I'm using that to hold my dish towels. I'm going to do the pantry, and then I'll come back to the bathroom. Pantry is great. This is there's a lot of drawers in there, and they're deep, so this holds a lot of stuff. So this one's basically empty. I love these things. I've been using that to store, like brown sugar, and that one's not even in use. More Tupperware measuring extra sugar, salt and baking powder, probably baking soda, flour, oils, and all that kind of good stuff are in here. Okay, we'll come back to the bathroom. So on the sink right now, I only have a cup of filtered water just for my mornings when I'm taking my medicine, whatever, and then soap. There's a ton of room in here. Again, it is just me, so I'm not trying to make good use of space. In here, I found that this guy, let you see the dimensions. This guy fits almost perfectly. It doesn't quite go all the way down behind the lip, but that's okay. So it gives me drawers for, you know, various things, which is great. You know, again, very unused space here. A bin actually fits nicely up here. You know, I do actually don't have any extra clean bath towels at the moment, but I just stick them in here. And then some more storage space here. And let's see. I don't hang my any towels here if I don't have to, because that will hang right over the controls, and that's obviously annoying. So I use these little command strip things to put a couple of spots right on the door, and these have been holding well. So, you know, there's my shower setup. I've not added anything to the shower. I probably would have to if I had somebody here with me to keep all of their stuff. Yep. Okay. Bedroom. I've got another tabletop fan there. I store that up here when I'm traveling. You know, I've got a white noise generator in there. Just a bunch of really random things. Plenty of space here. I've got, you know, my bounce and tide in here, and this has got obviously the DVD Blu-ray player in it. I do have this giant HDMI cord in case I decide to do something like that, but I do have the Microsoft wireless HDMI plugged in here, so that's how I'll remote my PC to this TV if I want to. Sometimes I'll use that for streaming purposes. I do take this. I leave this. You know, if I'm parked for some while, I don't need the key fob, so I put it back here. That way, it's not pinging the controls up front and draining the batteries, and it also is huge and doesn't take up space in my pocket that way. So I keep that here. You know, whenever I'm parked. So a bunch of drawers full of stuff and more stuff and my clothes that you probably don't need to see. The washer and dryer is obviously back behind there. One trick that I read recently on IRV2 was stuff all of the pillows that come with the unit if you don't like them, or you know, whatever, back there. So I did that, and that you know, frees up a lot of space that you would otherwise take up. So back here, I'll keep extra shoes. I got another fire extinguisher back here. That's the cushion for the dinette to turn that into a bed, and I've got my laptop work bag here. You know, hang up my clothing. I have yet to actually even try to use the safe or set it up or any of that. And I got my Swiffer stuff there, so you know. These are not in use, except I stuffed a couple of the pillows that came with it in here, but these are otherwise empty. There is storage right there. You know, it's empty, a little too inconvenient to access, so I don't bother because I have enough space otherwise. And I keep my phone and watch here, and that's where I plug it in and let it charge overnight. So that, I think, covers my interior setup, my exterior setup. So in here I've got the fridge option. So that's where I'm getting my beer stored. Plenty of space in here. All right, so I've got 3 chairs there. I've got my ladder. I have 2 giant wood blocks, leveling blocks that I put together here. That takes up quite a bit of length there. Yeah, ladder, and I have my little tabletop grill. I've got a giant bin here. This thing is huge, full of random stuff. There's really not a lot of stuff in there yet. The bag that I keep all the towing related stuff in there, including the RVI brake and my bicycle helmet bike stuff for when I take that out. I've got my big old outdoor mat and a folding table in here, and you'll see on the other side of this I have another bin. I have a bucket. I have two, I think they're 50 foot each, maybe. They could be 25, I don't remember. Drinking water hoses in case I need them. I do need those at home, so I keep them in here, you know, and more stuff. I mean, as you can see, there's plenty just open air in here. There's plenty of storage space. You'll note that I don't have a sliding storage, which, you know, for me hasn't been an issue. But you know, if you're taking stuff in and out of here, you really are bending over because the slide is out to get in and to get at stuff. So a little bit of gymnastics involved. So tools are in here, and various kind of tool-ish stuff for the most part, coax and air lines and stuff like that. Leveling blocks, my extra tiles, you know, some Rain-X and some ATF fluid for HWH use. I also put the chucks in here. This one doesn't shut very well. No, actually, yeah, I put the hose, which I don't use in there, sewer hose. In here I do keep these gloves. I actually just got these two. These are 9 mil thickness. These are really thick gloves. They're extra large, so they're really easy to get on and off, but they're still, I can still you know, use my fingers easily, so that has been nice to have. So that's all that's really in here. Yeah, there's nothing special going on in here. And this is just the other side of that compartment. Pass through. And that's the batteries. So that's it for outside. The other thing that goes inside, of course, is this chair, so that fits easily in there. And I'm not using the Jeep at all for storage. The only thing I've got the bike on the back, of course, but I don't keep anything in there. I have no need to. Should also mention there's storage below the steps here. I don't have anything in here, but I do have the case with all the Newmar provided documentation sitting in this one. It's deep enough for that, but that's all I use these for.